Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the BNI members around the world. I'm Mohammed Shabib, Executive Director of BNI Qatar, and welcome back to our another session of Coffee with the ED, happening on 26th of June 2021. This will be the last one this month. We have a few coming up for the next month, and we are right now exclusively doing this for BNI members in Qatar. But if you feel that you need to reach out to me, please feel free to email me on my email ID, which I am writing on the screen right now. This is my email ID. And if you have any questions, do put in. I will answer this along with our sessions. And if you are interested in participating in these sessions, please feel to email me. We can include you. Right, so coming to today's participants, we have Habib from Royals chapter, we have Hassan Abdul Qadir also from the Royals chapter, then we have Mr. Chinnakanan from the Winners chapter. We'll be taking each of the questions and answering them as briefly as possible, but in as detail as possible. So we'll keep time as much by the next 90 minutes. But let's see if we really do need to spend so much time. So Habib, good morning, coming to you. Your question was, can you repeat your question? How to?
Hi. It was specifically about how to deal with the clients who don't see value in the services. Especially, I'm coming from an auditing firm. We have many clients who might be needing advice or consultancy for accounting related, tax related issues for their company, but they want the advice or the work done for free or for very less charge. So how to deal with them,
So
especially if they are. Yeah.
there are two sides of this coin. Okay. So one side of the coin that I usually say is, I have a vast sales experience over the last 17 years, and I have seen a lot of people who do this. Okay. And the actual issue over here is, at one point we start to value our time, and then we end up not, we end up seeing people who do not see the same value, right? Who do not see the same value. Now, the fact is, many a time I have also seen that these are also people who are not ready to receive the value also. Got it? They are not ready to receive the value. What is the meaning of not being able to, not ready to receive the value? So the fact is, the solutions or the services that you're providing is of a level which they are yet to attain. I'm not saying they're not capable people. What I'm saying is the size of their business, the problems that they're facing, in their life of learning from their experiences, they have not reached a point where they are yet able to understand the value of what you are giving them. And this usually creates a scenario where they say, why are you charging so much? I'm looking for free advice and all those things. And I'm sure all of us have seen this in our careers. So one thing that I decided is, so I'll tell you a story which I've shared many times with many people. I'm a software engineer who also had an investment in a hardware tools company. Actually, Chinnakanan's company used to buy a lot of products from us when I was doing the trading. It was a company called Capex. And what happened is, I went through a lot of trouble. In the initial 4 years, we went through a lot of trouble. And we actually lost a lot of money, a huge amount of money, actually. Okay. And then what happened is I reached a realization that my knowledge is not enough. I need to take advice from outside. And I had a few people advise me. And one of the things I also realized is that I do not know how to read the ECG of my business. The ECG of any business, I believe, is the profit and loss statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. If you do not know how to read these statements, then basically you do not know what is the health of your business, because it's the numbers that actually tell you what is the health of your business, and you are able to take decisions based on what you are able to understand from that. So, for the first 4 years, I did not see value in the kind of services you were providing, to be very honest. Okay. And when people told me, I did not see the value, but it took me it took me a lot of trouble. It took me a lot of pain to understand that. And I also, what happened is I read few books, especially autobiographies at that time. And this is in 2010. This is almost 11 years ago. 2010, that year. One book that stood out for me was Richard Branson, Losing My Virginity, which is his autobiography. I read that book, and what happened to me is it changed my mindset. I saw people. So for me, till then, my problem was the biggest problem. When I read his book, the problems that he faced, I saw that my problem is not so big. And then what happened is when you see that the problem is not so big, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It becomes solvable. Okay. So then I understood, okay, it's solvable. What should I know? And then that's when I started approaching people like you who could tell me what is the health of my company and really take me forward in terms of the decisions that I'm taking and tell me where my company can go on these reports. The problem is still I reached that point, I was not ready to receive that value. Okay. So what happened is so the main crux of the story is following on to this, my partners had a brand of tools which was very good quality, but our since we were OEM, we were the brand owners, our cost price was pretty good. And usually what I've seen in this market, in the Qatari market, is that when people get something at a lower price, they tend to apply a standard operating margin. What's a standard operating margin in the Qatari market you have heard? Somewhere around 25-30%, right? So what happens is even if the price goes down, but the quality is good, they still apply that standard operating margin. And then what they do is they try to sell this to a lot of people. Now, what happens at that point is that you sell this to a lot of people, but they might not be the ideal clients. They might not be the ones who have intention to pay you. They might not be the ones who will pay you on time, maybe, or give you the right kind of quantity. So when I realized this, but I saw the quality of tools was really good, what I decided is I'm not going to compete with the lower end of the market. I'm going to compete with the higher end of the market. So now when I go to the higher end of the market, what happens? My margins can go up. Now my margins are really high. Okay, but the thing is, I have to present myself in that way. So presenting myself in that way, that's when I started the habit of wearing t-shirts that carry the brand. Okay, so at that time, one thing that I saw is that the best brands, they always used to give freebies as t-shirts or accessories, right? So I started wearing the t-shirts of my brand, going out. And then what we did is we started doing branding. So we did some free interior stickering works, giving some free stamps for the tools. But the thing is, you have to take a minimum order of so much. So what we did is we give them a minimum order, consignment order, which we know will sell off. But this is the thing. Now, what happened is when I started operating at that level, so what I decided is, no, not at this level. I'm looking at this level. My margins became really, really big. But my product was so good that we were competing with some of the best in the market. And the game changer for me came in where I was able to close a deal which was worth around 2 million riyals. A 2 million riyals deal, when you have 25% versus when you have 95% margin, you yourself can calculate the amount of profit that you make, right? At that space, you can start doing things which you never thought possible because you have more leverage to take the right decisions. So my question to you is, what's your takeaway right now? Do you want to go to people who are not seeing your value, or do you want to approach people who see your value?
Yes, approach the people who are ready to see the value.
Exactly. Exactly. But at this stage, what happens is you also might have to upskill yourself a little bit. Especially, in BNI, many people, actually, I got this question yesterday. How should I dress in BNI? This was a question that came to me, okay? What I say is that you should dress as if you're meeting your best client. So imagine that you're going to meet your best client. How will you dress? What kind of accessories will you have? How polished will be your shoe? How well groomed will you be when you're going to meet your best client? So when you want to operate that level, you have to project the image of a person who is operating at that level. After some time, you can walk around wearing turtlenecks like Steve Jobs, no problem, because once you've proven your worth, once people know that you are somebody who knows his stuff, who is capable of doing what he says, then that doesn't matter, because people are people come for that wisdom. People are coming to you, approaching you for that wisdom. At that time, it doesn't matter. You could be, but at a certain point, you need to be a salesman. And selling requires you to project certain things. I'm not saying to lie. Many people say that salesmen are the best liars. I don't think that. The salesmen are the ones who keep their commitment, actually. Salespeople are the ones who keep the best commitments. So are you ready to project yourself as a person who can keep up the commitments of what your customer demands? When you are able to do that, then you will see that people will start seeing the value. Means the ones who can afford you will start seeing your value. Many a time you're getting this question from people who are not able to see that value. So, again, I'm a life coach. I do a lot of sessions, right? I have had a lot of people who come and say, Shabib, your sessions, what you say is what everybody else says. I said, yes, that's what everybody else. But then how much of it are you doing? Right? And you're somebody who has attended my 30-day course also, right? So, you know how I take you through doing things. And it's not easy, it's difficult. It's a challenge. You can only cross that line of being committed if you're really passionate about what you do. And sometimes about yourself and sometimes about what you are doing for a career, right? So all these things comes in. So at this point, understand who are the kind of people who will see your value. Make a list of your targets. Okay. And this list should actually be a list that you are looking to close as clients for the next 1 year. Okay, and make this imprinted in your head, like by heart, you need to know it even without the use of a paper. Okay. When you have this, then you will see that, it's called the law of attraction. So once you want something so much and then you start behaving in a way that these things will come towards you, you will see that this clients that you wanted will actually start coming to you, because the people around you will start thinking like you. So who are the people around you?
Fellow BNI members.
Exactly. Your fellow BNI members, your relatives. What you see is your demeanor, your behavior, the way you project yourself changes. When this changes, because you know the list, and then you know what kind of professionalism is required at that level, and you start communicating this. At this stage, what happens is people around you start thinking like you. And then what happens is those referrals start coming. So my suggestion to you is, do not work too hard on trying to convince people who are not ready to pay you. Go and convince people who are ready to pay you. There are people like that. Otherwise, there won't be better firms than yours, right? So there are people like that. You just have to reach in front of them and you need to project that. So the change mostly is inside. So one more thing I'll say before I go to the next point is, there are two kinds of people in the world. Okay. There are people who say, I won't, and there are people who say, I can't. So, the people who say, I won't, they know what is the solution. They have the skills to create the solution. They are, very much capable of being a part of the solution. But the thing is, they won't do it. So over there, it's not a skill problem. It's an attitude problem. And changing people's attitude is very, very difficult. So play at a different, change the playground. That's the best way. People who say, I can't. So these are people who want to be a part of the solution, but at this point, they can't, because they don't have the skill or the resources required for it. Okay. These people, helping them actually makes sense. When you help them, what happens is they actually tend to reciprocate in terms of creating the changes that is required. But these people, it's very difficult. So mostly these are kind of people who don't listen to you at all. They keep on teaching you, even though you might have 10 years more experience, 15 years experience in the auditing industry. The only thing they look at auditing is one annual submission, but you are handling 150 to 400 clients, but still they'll keep on teaching you. right? So don't spend time with these people, the I won'ts. Okay, spend time with the people who say I can't, because you can help them. Does this answer your question?
Yes, exactly.
All right. Anything that Hassan or Chinnakan wants to add on to what I have said, or any realizations that is there from what I spoke?
You have put it so nicely, Sharif. There's one thing what I see in this in Habib's line of business is that you also put it so nicely about how you dress and other stuff. Because we see that yeah, product selling and service selling is totally different. I mean, I feel the service selling also should go towards take some tips from the product selling and do a little bit of more on the marketing side of it. Then probably much more. I think at
Yeah.
that. To look at all you have to see is how the guys are selling, coming and selling your product, the way they dress, the way they approach, just like what Mr. Shabib was talking about, put across the company logo, company this one. I feel your line of business always I see people so the demeanor itself is not so humble, so it's a little bit of like I do not want to use the word show off, but again, a little bit of confidence.
Street smart, a bit more street smartness.
Street smartness is required. So I think that is the differentiator between the success of these service industries. You see what is immediately wherever you go, you come across BVA, KPMG. The visibility is there. Immediately you come across that type of thing. I think you should able to create it. If not of that type of a budget, at least personal one-to-one meeting, create that impact. Then I feel people, moment they have a recommend, immediately they think about you. That's what I could.
Doesn't mean that you have to wear $1,000 suit or a very expensive watch. What it means is carrying yourself with a different, with a demeanor of confidence is really, really important. You can really, do a lot of things with that. You can do a lot of things with your attitude. And thank you, Chinnakan sir, for adding on to that. One last point, if I may. Another thing is, do not try to sell to people who actually haven't perceived the need of what you have to give. Give it to people who actually need it. So look at, many a time, usually when you make a pitch, many a time what we say is we go on to tell people that we can double your revenue, we can double your profit income. Don't do that. So tell them we can double it in the next 4 years, where the first year we can focus on a 15% growth because it'll take us some time to actually go through the pain of change, where there'll be some decisions that you will have to take. So making it realistic was very important. I used to sell software, and I used to tell people, at the click of a mouse, many things will happen. The only thing I forgot to tell them is it'll take 3 years before we actually reach that point. And then after 3 months, they come and ask me, Shabib, where's the report? You promised me this. But then I realized that keeping the expectations real is very important. Under promise, over deliver is actually something that I've seen people who are at the, really good consultants or professionals do. And one more thing that I'll really, really request you to do is, most of us, I mean, almost all of us are really good in what we do in our profession. For example, you are really good with financial advice. You're very good with that, right? Chinnakan sir is very good with air conditioning systems. Hassan is very good with facilities management, mechanical systems, right? What the challenge is, many people, they are not able to connect it to success in business because they are not able to connect that process of sales generation, doing the sales, and then actually prospecting for clients. Most people start their business based on the fact that they know a lot of people. I have relatives there. I have friends here. That's how they start business. That's where their business fails also. Because beyond that, they are not able to see how do they get more clients. So you have seen a lot of people in Qatar who just started a business because their brother is working somewhere, or their their friend has a hold somewhere. But it really doesn't work that way. So if you feel that you have, so BNI can teach you only so much about sales because we focus on the referral part of things. And yes, during these sessions of where you ask me from my experience and what I know, I share things, and people who are in this session share things. But I would suggest that you really invest in a sales training course. Find a good one. It might, cost you somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 reals, and do it. If you are able to do that, you will understand. So most of the time, it's not because of a lack of sales skills. Most of the time, it is because of a lack of plan of how to do your sales. And this is a gap I have seen in many people, that they do not know how to plan their sales. They make a budget, but they do not know how to relate this budget to the actions they have to take to make that budget happen. So go for some good sales trainings. I have a 8-hour program where I do it, but it requires you to also understanding scheduling, as in your calendar. I've shown you my calendar before, right? How I schedule my calendar. So major part of this is I know when I'm selling, I know when I'm actually working, and all those things. But there's some problem with my calendar. It's not connecting to my Hotmail. Why is it not connecting to my Hotmail? It's supposed to, but it's not. Don't worry, I have it on my laptop. So I'll show it towards the end, maybe. All right. So this is something that you just have to understand. What are the skills that you need as a salesman to manage your resources and take it forward, okay, as a salesperson? And mostly this is about sales. What you spoke about is about sales. All right. So I'll go to Hassan's question. Thank you so much, Habib, for being patient. Hassan, your question, please. What's your question today?
Yes, sir. We have our sales team, which we have around 7 people in our sales engineers. So with that, how we improve the sales, how to plan the sales, and how to improve the business totally.
Okay. So Habib, you're in luck. Hassan asked a question which actually will make a lot of sense to you also. Right. I'm going to tell you what I know, what has worked for me. Okay. So one of the things that we really, usually, especially in the technical industry also, or in many industries, what happens is people try to become a jack of all trades. Okay. And you know what happens when you are a jack of all trades? You will get the low margin, high volume sales. The problem with low margin, high volume sales is there is a lot of high volume, so it will keep you busy, right? But the problem is it will also not make you money. Okay, especially at the level you might be doing it, because you said 7 engineers, which is good, but then your production team, your operations team might not be able to handle this volume and become too busy. So for me, I have a definition for being busy. Okay, there is when people ask me, Shabib, are you busy? I say, no, I'm not busy. I have full schedule today. Okay, so why do I hesitate from saying busy? Because for me, okay, this is my definition. For me, busy is not a good thing. For me, busy is my time is not in my control. Okay. So the thing is, I'm reacting to all those challenges that is happening around me. I'm not in control. It's in the control of everybody else, and I'm having to answer to so many people. So many a time when we are keeping the sales team, and we tell them, please go and bring those margins and everything, and then they usually go for the low margin, high volume, which is easy to close because it's low margin, right? And everybody pays low margin things. Like when the price is lower, everybody buys it. And then you get enough of it, you feel happy, okay, at least we are hitting targets, but then you become so busy that family time, your staff are all stressed, you're working overtime, and all those things happens, right? So how do you change this? So to change this, the first thing is you have to basically make the list of what is your niche, what's your strength. Okay. Don't look at what is wanted the most in the market, because if something is wanted most in the market, there's high chance that there's high competition out there. But when you start focusing on what is your key strength, your key skill, the fact is the higher you go up in altitude, what happens in the mountains? Less people live there, right? Okay, so similarly, the higher you position yourself in terms of your skill set, you will see that the competition is less over there. You really need to define that areas. So in your case, you have a larger company. So yes, you will have to outline it in a way where What I usually tell people is to focus on dividing their businesses, their business activities, or essentially their clients into 3 levels. Okay, so if this is your sales, sorry, if this is your time, okay, time, as in it could be any time, but just for the example over here, I'm just saying, okay, 1 year, okay, 1 year of time versus your sales. Okay, this is your sales. Which it could look something like this. This being the end of the year. So I'm just going to change this line to here. Okay, and this being your, so this is what you want. Okay, let's say this is your hypothetical line, hypothetical, or your goal. Let's call it goal. I don't want to use complex words. Let's say this is your goal. And most of the time what you'll see is very few companies actually are able to go above, right? They are able to go above this. Most of the time people kind of reach somewhere over here. This is where they reach. Okay. So the thing is, they know what volume they want, but they're not planning in terms of what kind of clients they want, what kind of ways they can go for the for higher margin business and so on. Now, every business cannot be high margin. You need to balance this well. So what we usually tell is, let's say from the entire year's sales, your entire profit, okay, from your entire profit that you make, if your sales hits this point, okay, you are basically break even. So what is the meaning of break even? No profit, no loss. You're paid all salaries. You have taken your salary also. You know, many business owners don't do this. I tell them it's very important to do this, because what I'm going to show you right now is going to change that for you. And then what also they look is they also go for a goal, right? This is what I call it as a top line. So what is a goal requiring? How do you actually define a goal? So as a business owner, what you want to make profit, right? As a business owner, and it is your actual earnings as a business. So as a business operator, as a self-employed person, you actually make your salary over here. But as a business owner who owns a business, you want returns from your investment. You actually have to make a profit. So top line is basically your profit goal. At this point, when your sales hits this point, you actually would have made enough profit that is equal to your goal of making profit. Okay, very important. Now, if your sales goes above this and hits somewhere higher, I don't have space in the graph, but I'm sure all of you will understand this. Let's say in 1 year itself, you actually went above this in terms of sales. This is what I call the bonus area. So have you heard companies giving bonus, or maybe you yourself have received bonuses when you're working in bigger companies, right? You did, right? Or you're hearing about banks and other institutions giving a lot of bonuses, right? This is where the bonus happens. When the investors have made their money and the company makes more money than what the investors expected, that's where people start getting their bonuses. Again, you can also give, as a small business owner or a medium business owner, you can also start giving bonuses. You can also start operating at that level, but you need to work towards it. Now, how do we divide this? Okay. So when most people go to this, let me ask you, typically when your salespeople come to you for reporting, most of the time they keep talking about the big things, right? The big deals, right? The challenge with the big deals is they make great stories, but they happen once in a blue moon, just like stories do. Okay, once upon a time. So you really have to understand it happens not at very frequent intervals. It can happen in intervals, but we have to understand what those intervals are. Those big deals doesn't come to you. I don't think every month you might get a big deal. Every 3 months, yes, you could get a big deal. Now, you can make it a big deal every month, but then your operations will have to be that big. Yes or no? You'll have to scale up your operational strength to that level, right, to handle all these big deals. You'll need that much staffing, you'll need that much operational staff and all those things. So understanding where your operational capacity is, that is one of the first things to actually setting a sales goal. With your current people, how much billing is actually possible? Okay, so when you set a baseline, what also happens is you kind of understand who is your most valuable employees on whom you can depend on to create operational goals. And based on their operational goals, you start splitting up your clientele. So your clientele is usually made up of three kind of customers. Okay, so one is what I call the bread and butter. Bread and butter. You know, on a comical side, bread and butter literally means it keeps you away from starving. Okay, so you will have bread with some butter to eat. That's exactly what it is. So basically, they are low margin and high volume. So many companies, this is a great place to actually operate in if you have the right systems in place. If you are a people heavy, can you hear me? Yeah. So low margin, high volume. This is a great place to operate in only if you have systemized your operations to a great extent. Yes or no, right? Chinakaran sir can obviously support us. His company is really huge, right? And what I'm saying makes sense, right? If you have systemized, so you have processes, you have people who are trained on these processes, and you have an enterprise resource planning software, ERP software that complements this process and the training of the people. When all of these three things fall in place, low margin, high volume makes sense. Okay, and many a time what I tell people is set up your business in a way where the bread and butter can actually help you hit break even. Because at that point of time, what happens is you will not need to spend time over here. The system, the trained people, and the processes you have implemented will take care of the business. Does it make sense? Okay. Then what's the second kind of clients? So second kind of clients that I usually tell people is, what's your favorite customers? So favorite customers means these are the people who are actually focused on giving you the right returns. Like these are things you are good at and better margins. You're good at these things, what problems they have, and you have better margins. Okay. Use the favorite customers to actually hit your top line. Okay. And then we spoke about the dream customers, right? Your dream customers. Those big projects, right? This is high price. The price is very high of these projects and average margins. Okay. So these three, and I usually tell people, focus on building your bonus area with this. The thing is, most people, they put in a lot of effort over here. They get dream customers, but the problem is when there is a problem, it starts impacting a huge part of your revenue. Your company starts becoming jittery. People start getting distressed. And then the decisions that you start taking starting affecting the other dream customers. So if you have too many dream customers also, it can create a problem if you are not balancing it with the right favorite customers and the bread and butter customers. So when you give targets to your salespeople, ensure that you distribute the sales target. You need to empower your operations people in the right way so that they can handle the bread and butter sales that will help you create enough revenue for break even, and then give your salespeople targets to get this bread and butter customers. Okay, this could be AMC. This could be, what's your definition? So I will, if you ask me, I might have to spend many more hours to sit down, analyze, understand where your pain points are to give you a detailed explanation. But then this is generally what happens. And then give them also focus on creating a few favorite customers. which will contribute you towards your top line. And the emphasis on dream customers is important, but make sure that you're doing it at a level where they are meeting their targets with this. They meet their targets with this, and this should be always the bonus area. So when you design your sales structure, try to focus on giving them the targets by defining who exactly is your bread and butter and favorite. And then the bonus area, tell them the dream customers are your bonus. You bringing a dream customer will not hit your baseline targets. It will go into the next thing, but without you hitting the baseline targets, you will not start getting benefit from the dream customers. Then what you'll see is that they will start going and developing the right relationships. And then the quality of sales will also increase. This is easily said, but it will take some time for you to incorporate this. It requires a lot of, training, motivation, coaching for the salespeople, because you're asking them to change. You yourself have to change first, and then you have to start them to change. So this is usually what I tell people to, actually set up a way to go ahead. And you really need to implement this in terms of, project this using services of people like Habib, who will give you the projections on your, so sometimes you might need to spend some money on trainings. So if you're doing that, what impact is it going to make? So every decision that we take, as business owners, yes, we are doing a lot of physical things out there. Our people are doing a lot of physical things out there, but it's our decisions that makes them do that. Your business succeeds if you take the right decisions and you have a process and system to manifest this in the real world as value for other people, which will make them pay you the right amount. So it's your decisions that is very important. And if you're not able to take the right decisions, many people take decisions based on intuition. I know this, I have experience, I don't need those, I don't need those numbers, I don't need to see these things. And then they end up taking a decision, they ask what's gone wrong. What's gone wrong is your thinking was wrong. So what happened is when your thinking was wrong, your decision became wrong. And when your decision becomes wrong, everything else becomes wrong. For a short time, you might think things are going right, but as you go towards, as a player goes towards the goal post, he will eventually see that there's no goal post over there. What happens when you have players on a football field where there is no goal posts? Highly trained people, okay, you give them a ball, you put them in a box, but there's no goal post. What are they going to do for 90 minutes? What will they do, Hassan? They'll not do anything. For a few minutes, they'll kick the ball here and there, and they'll not do anything and sit down and then talk amongst themselves till something is given. But then you put two goalposts over there, then you have the greatest game in the world, right? You put two goalposts to end of the football, you have the greatest game in the world. So that's what the beauty of a goal is. Okay, you have a goal and you structure your strategy over it. Work really becomes the most exciting thing that you can do in your life. All right, so I hope this answers your part of your question or most of your question. Is there anything else that you want me to clarify on this?
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you so much. Srinakanth sir, we'll come to you now. Your question, sir.
Yeah, basically, I'm looking at getting connected with the other BNI in the other regions. One of the reason why I'm asking you this is because that's taking, further to what you spoke, what you were talking to Sasan also on that. It's an extension of that. We are mostly got our break-even line. We got it set. We have got some regular businesses which high volume, low margins, and we have got something to play around with some product groups where you can go for a little bit higher skill set that's required. So we have started developing on those things, considering the expected shrinkage in the market size. What has been happening for the past 3 to 4 years. We know moving forward post 2022 for a sustainable business, we are looking at something to sustain ourselves. Not only here, even in we thought of expanding ourselves to other regions also. One of the services what we can offer to the outside market is one of the products which are manufacturing it here locally. in Qatar, which is we are having our own manufacturing facility here where we do the grills, diffusers, fire dampers, something related to the HVAC air distribution products, we call it, where we are allowed to sell to other markets. That's one area. Another thing is that we are looking at the soft skills, particularly on the engineering services. We offer our services for the BIM, for the 3D BIM modeling and all the other stuff. We can do that. Quantity takeoff and other related things which goes along with our HVAC and MEP segment. And even on the architecture, on the structural side also, we have teamed up with this. This particular line of business, we already are a little bit, we have ventured into US and other places also. I mean, of course, within the GCC is very congested. I mean, it's already a well-established market.
Yeah, this is an HVAC heavy market.
It's a heavy this one, so we are not looking that. We have started moving towards US and Canada, where we have started some little bit of things we are able to establish. We have got a little bit of contacts here and there established based on our association with our other principal companies based out of US. So we want to do it a little bit of bigger scale. We want to get connected to guys on to the other business owners on the same field, like on the HVAC side, MEP and engineering services. Where we can offer something. I mean, I don't know how you can support us on this.
We can. So, one of the most beautiful things about BNI is the online platforms that we have. We have two. One is BNI Connect, and the other one is the BNI Business Builder. Okay. Now, for BNI Connect, we have a standalone training actually, which I think there's a training coming up, but I'll cover briefly some aspects of it. The easiest way to do this is basically to go on your mobile, and I'll just share my mobile screen for you to see. But by the time I set this up for my mobile, let me just show you something on this, on BNI Connect. On BNI University. Okay, BNI Uni. And this particular thing, the recorded one, will be shared to us. Yeah, this will be on YouTube. Yes, this will be on YouTube. BNIuniversity.com. So if you go to BNIuniversity.com, what you will see is okay. I need to. Just one sec. Let me see if they're okay. Good. They're not showing the password. Sometimes these things we don't think what we're doing, and then we just go ahead and do a lot of things. Wait, I kind of have a challenge in remembering the password. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Now, in this platform on BNI University, it's called the BNI Business Builder, but the link is bniuniversity.com. If you go to referral exchanges, there is actually a platform where you can. Just a second, okay, just let me clear my throat. Okay, so you'll see over here different classifications with a lot of people holding discussions on it. So here, architecture and engineering, which I think is obviously your industry. If you click on this, you'll see a lot of discussions with people from around the world. So you need to join now. So once I give join now, I am allowed to join this thing. And then what happens is you will see a lot of people who are doing a lot of things in different industries, usually from the Far East, from Asia. But you can also see a lot of the people who all are the members over here. So, other markets also you can see over here. You can see there's people from all around the world. And you can go to all discussions. And you can see different kinds of requests over here. So you just need to basically put your introduction over here. And then if you see any topics that is interesting to you, go in and put some messages, and you can connect with these people also. So this is one way of doing this. We also have the same thing on BNI Connect website also. Okay. So did you log in into the BNI Connect website from your laptop yet, or only on the app? 1 second. Why do these things always, sometimes, you know, you want things to work seamlessly, especially when you're doing sessions like this, but then you see that you're, you know, it's not working well. I'm sorry for this. Let me just reload this. Okay. I just need to sign in, guys. Can I sign in? Is it working? Okay, we'll just see if it signs in. If not, I will share this on my laptop. I think I'll share this on my laptop. That's the best thing. Let me just close. Sometimes technology has its own quirks. All right, so you can see this on my laptop now. So when I go to BNI Connect website, you're able to see my laptop now, right? I mean, the screen, yes, okay, I can see myself on my iPad. So in this, you just log in. It's the same login as your BNI Connect app, username, password. In this, you can go to this option called network, where when you click on network, it will open up a home screen which shows your profile. You can create your profile. Now, how to create this and all this, it's covered in the BNI Connect training. So attend that. But once you are in this, what also you can do is you click on the search button, and you can give the advanced search, where you can give the keyword as HVAC. Now, which country are you looking at? Give me one country that you would like to get connected with. You're muted.
USA, sir.
USA, okay. United States. So United States, is there any specific city that you want to focus on?
You can take New York.
New York, okay. So just type here, and then you search members. What it should give you is this, not exactly somebody who's doing HVAC, but the thing is, over there, it could be, you know, they may not be using the word HVAC. They could be using some other thing. So let's, mostly since New York is a cold place, we can focus on heating. No, there's nobody. Yeah, here, you can see all those people. So
HVAC is
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's a lot of people.
Okay.
I think you have hit a gold mine right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's so many people you can actually connect with, and you can. So they're not basically based in New York exactly, but they're from different other
regions. Yeah, that's okay.
Of US. Okay. So maybe it's because I gave New York, I should just give NY. They usually also use the short forms over there. So yeah, if I give NY, what happens? Yeah, you get the NY. Yeah, anyway, you get the gist of it now.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. So just go ahead. So now what happens is you can click on them and their profile comes up. If they have not put in their profile, most of the time people at least put in a link for their email, for their website. But some people, they usually also have a very detailed profile. Let's see if anybody has a very detailed, yeah. So you can see she has got a very detailed profile and her company website and all those things. So you just need to put in a bit more effort to just connect with them. Just maybe send an email. And, you know, adding the proud BNI member logo in your email signature actually helps. And for that, what you need to do is you have to go to a website called bnibranding.com. Okay, you go to bnibranding.com. It gives you all collaterals, marketing collaterals of what you can use available to you. And what you just need to do is you just need to click on all files over here, the small circle on the top, and then click over here, BNI Global, and then you will see BNI Marketing, or no, BNI Branding. Yeah, BNI Branding. And then you can go to secondary elements. Is it secondary elements? No, it's, I think, the logos. Yeah, this shows all logos, but then there is specific logo for members to use, which is called Proud BNI Member. Proud. I don't want background, I need proud. Okay. So you see this logo? Either this one, the square ones, or these oval ones. You can take these and put it in your email signatures, your business cards, all those things that you can use it. Okay. But putting this in the email signature when you're sending an email to a BNI member makes a lot of difference.
Okay, that's
It's immediate response. Okay. So this is the other area. Now, you want to learn more about this? Please do attend the BNI, BNI Connect training. Now, on Facebook also, if you go to Facebook, the BNI members are very active. There are a few groups that you can actually be a part of. The most important one is BNI members. So you just search for BNI members group. Okay, just search for this, and it will take you, give you the, you see this group, BNI members.
members group. Okay.
Yeah, just click on this. It's got 23,300 people. And if you put a message on this, they will approve you, and then you can actually create connections around the world.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Ask for connections. Don't sell your products. Ask for connections.
Connections. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
So these are ways where you can actually take it forward. Another way is you could also virtually attend the BNI Global Convention, which is going to be happening virtually as well as in person in Miami this year. If you want to do it virtually, it costs you only $200, but you need to do the registration today. Today is the last day for $200. And tomorrow it goes to $250. It's worth it. I registered, and there will be a lot of breakout rooms, discussions, and all those things where you can actually network with people around the world. Now,
how to get this one? How to become out?
Okay, BNI globalconvention.com is what I think. No, wait, it's not.
I think something had come, right? You had sent across some message had come.
I think they keep sending the email. So you just need to go to this Global Convention 2021. Just search for BNI Convention, and it comes up first. And then over here, you need to do the registration.
Okay, fine.
So you can attend in two ways. You can do it either online, or you can attend it in person.
In person, okay, fine.
Yeah, but then you need to fly to Miami.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm attending this time virtually. I'm not.
Oh, okay. That's on October, is it? Okay, fine.
It's in October, 6th to 9th. Okay. The last time I attended was in Poland. It was great. There were so many people from so many parts of the world. This is another way. So then there's a lot of events that keeps happening, and another thing is if you really want to visit chapters worldwide, what you could also do is you could actually register yourself for meetings that is still happening online. So in many of the countries now, with the pandemic being in control, but recently, excuse me. My apologies for that. All right. So what we saw now is that in many of the countries, again, the pandemic is spiking up. Especially today, there was in the news that Israel has again asked people to start wearing the mask and so on. So there is a lot of challenges happening, because of which most countries are still meeting online. So what you do is you go to your BNI Connect app. Okay. You go to your BNI Connect app. In the BNI Connect app, sorry. So Manhattan is something that you can look at, and then you could go there and then see which is the date that they are meeting. And then you click on register, it gets registered. And you'll get a link or an email, and then you can always follow up with them. So once you see the person, so over here, if you find the person, something's not right today. Right, so you see the person, which chapter they are in, okay? For example, now New Jersey landing, or let's see, Mary is in Iowa, right? So you could go back, United States. Iowa is IA, right? Yeah, IA. And what's the chapter name? Business Connections is our chapter name. Yeah, DM Business Connections. So it's, wait a second, business DM. It's not coming in DM. You'll have to basically check out. I have to check. I'm not really clear how to get there. Now you could also connect with them on this platform directly by clicking on submit, and you could also request her to register you as a visitor.
Okay, fine, sure.
Okay,
Sure,
so
sure,
online.
sure.
But otherwise, yeah, you know, you want to visit any other chapter, just go here, Business Boosters, next, click the visit date and register, and they will send you a link.
Okay, great.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so I think this is more or less what I have for you as an answer for your question.
A couple of things, sir. This BNI Connect training, what you talked about.
We'll be sending you an email or a notification via WhatsApp. I'll give you the date. Okay. Right. So testimonial time. What did you find the best about this session that you came early in the morning at 8:30? So we'll start with Habib. Habib, how was your what did you learn today, and what would you tell your members about this session?
Yes. I got the answer, not only the answer, but action steps to act upon to overcome the challenge and act on the solutions. Especially the last few points I have noted down, and I have noted down the action points also, how I can tackle the issue. So it really was an eye-opener for me. Thank you so much for the insights.
Thank you for coming today, and please encourage your fellow members to also come in. Hassan, your feedback, please.
It was wonderful, and which we what I asked you, the same answer I got it, and how to boost our sales team for one. Not only I understand about the BNI Connect value, which is you explained us, and which is overall where how to connect with people. So I will go once again to BNI Connect to learn more about BNI Connect. Thank you.
Fantastic. So keep learning. The one thing that you can never stop doing in BNI is keeping to learn. For me, essentially, every day I come in with the intention that today I'm going to be learning something new along with making money. So you need to always focus on keep learning. Chinakaran sir, what's your feedback on today's session?
Yeah, it was really enlightening. So it's really enlightening because you are to the point and could have come only with an experience, what you said, what I understand, which you already had, because going through doing a business of your own, working somewhere, that experience you already expresses so well. And you are on straight to the point for all three of us. I mean, starting from Habib and to Hassan and to me, it was very straight to the point, and it was really very enlightening, very enlightening.
Please encourage your fellow chapter members to come in. The thing is, we can give you a lot of training, but till you realize exactly how this is going to work for you, which mostly is about questions that you have in your mind before you start taking action. Most people don't take action; they just get stuck over there. So, the reason why I've been devoting this my time to these sessions is because I want to help people get unstuck. Because the biggest obstacle that we have in our own success is ourselves. We just need to move out of our own way, right? So that's what I believe. For me also, for a long time, I was my own obstacle, because I kept thinking that it's not my problem, it's somebody else's problem. But then I realized a lot of things is my problem, actually. I need to change. And when I started changing, things started changing for me. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great week ahead. And those who are attending the afternoon one-to-one sessions, if you have not registered, please do register now and do attend. That'll be a great session by some of our, really good members. And all the best till next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.